My name is Ele Fountain and I am the author of Boy 87. I feel honoured that it will be one of the books you find inside your VIP reading Refugee Week box, created in support of O's Refugee Aid Team and the work they do helping refugees fleeing war, persecution, climate change and other man-made disasters. Several years ago, my family and I left the UK, moving thousands of miles away to a different continent. We were really excited. We were moving to an amazing country that was absolutely huge, about 5 times bigger than the UK. Parts of it were really high and mountainous, parts of it were really hot. Some of the hottest temperatures ever recorded in the world were recorded there. We knew that we were going to have an incredible adventure. But it was also a really big event for our family because we were moving thousands of miles away from friends and from relatives. But while this big event that we wanted to happen, this big move, was occurring in my family's life, there was a huge event happening elsewhere in the world, one that was affecting thousands of families who were having to flee their homes, not because they wanted to, not through choice, but because they had to. This big event was the refugee crisis, the height of the refugee crisis. And in the news almost every day, I would see images of very crowded, unseaworthy boats filled with refugees. And the news reporters would often talk about how many people were crammed into these boats. They would talk about the risks that they were taking. What you didn't hear very much about was that these refugees may have travelled for several years just to get to the boats you were seeing them in. What I didn't hear very much about was who was in these boats and why. This is when I started to develop an idea for a story I wanted to tell. I wanted to turn this tragedy that was affecting thousands of people into the story of one boy, because often when we see things through one other person's eyes, it's easier for us to step into their shoes, to feel what they might be feeling, to empathise with them. And while I was living abroad with my family, we witnessed how this sense of safety and security in a country can quickly change. People in this country weren't happy with the people in charge, with the government, and started rioting. And the government wasn't happy with people rioting, so they introduced a state of emergency, which meant there were laws that could send you to jail, imprison you just for saying something negative about that government. And one day I came home from school and found out that, I went to phone a friend and found out that the mobile network was down. So I thought I'd email them instead, but the internet was down. And the internet and mobile phone network across the whole country was down, had been turned off. And when some days later it was turned back on again, there was no social media, and certain websites were blocked because it was felt that this is how these riots were being organised. And I was shocked because I'd never experienced a country using its power in this way before. But I knew that if I'd felt in danger, then in this country, then my family and I could have left easily. We had passports that would allow us to come back to the UK. The same wasn't true for many of my Ethiopian friends, especially my Ethiopian friends who had disagreed with the government. They might have needed to find a different way to leave the country, a more dangerous way, possibly ending up on one of those boats I had seen images of before. And that's when I knew that the story I wanted to tell was Boy 87, a story to bring together what I had seen on the news and what I had seen happening around me. When you open the pages of Boy 87, you'll be opening a door to Shif's world. He's an ordinary boy. He goes to school, he gets homework, he has a best friend, he dreams big. As the story unfolds, Shif must learn how to be extraordinary. Along with his best friend Binny, Shif will face great danger and a huge journey. You will join him on that journey and the day that his life changes and his fight for survival begins. And I'm going to read you a piece from the book around about that time. with a slight flutter in my stomach, which may be the maths test, or maybe the stale bread I had for breakfast. I knock on Binny's door. No answer. Weird. He normally gets to our house first while I'm still getting ready. I can't be late today, so I start walking slowly down the road, knowing that with his long legs, Binny will catch me up in a few minutes. I'll hear the crunch of his shoes as he runs down the pavement after me and lurch forwards as he slaps me on the back, when he could just as easily say hello. 20 minutes later, I arrive outside the school alone. I realise it's the first time I've walked to school on my own this year. I head to my form room to go over my notes one last time. Binny doesn't come to the test. He doesn't come to school all day. When classes finish, I walk to the market alone to buy tomatoes and then go home. No one answers when I knock on Binny's door. I knock again more loudly and shout, "Binny, it's me!" As I turn to leave, the door slowly opens and Binny's mother, Saba, looks at me. "What is it, Shiv? Binny's at the market." "I just wanted to check he's okay," I answer, confused. I didn't see him at the market. "We had a big maths test today. He missed it." "Binny's okay," she says. "If he's not sick, then can I come round a bit later so we can go over the answers?" I add, realising I sound a bit desperate. "Don't worry about that," says his mother. "There's no need. Binny won't be coming to school anymore." She closes the door and I stand very still, wondering whether she'll open the door again, laughing at the joke she's played. But Binny's mum isn't the joking type. "How was the test?" Mum asks cheerfully as she walks in with Lem. I look up from my homework. I haven't really done any of it. I can't concentrate. It's like my brain doesn't come to life without Binny there to irritate me. "It was mostly easy, just one question I wasn't sure about." "I'm sure you'll get top marks," she says, kissing me on top of my head. "Maybe this time I will," I answer. She looks at me quizzically. She doesn't like it when I'm not open with her, I realise. I eat dinner mechanically, not thinking about the food in front of me. I'm able to think only of Binny's mother's words. Binny won't be coming to school anymore. This is a massive deal. Yet she seemed unmoved, normal, like Mum saying, "Dinner's ready. Please step over the meteorite," which landed in the house. I haven't had a chance to sweep it up. "We only have to complete this year, then go to military school for 2 years, then we'll be free to apply to university, study whatever we want." Everyone spends 2 years at military school, but Binny and I have moved up through school so quickly we'll go early. Going early was exciting when it was Binny and me. I don't want to go on my own. On my own, I won't be special. I'll be the little kid whose friends are still at regular school. Anger swells slowly inside me. I can always line my thoughts up like chess pieces, waiting for moves. But now all I can think about is how soon Lem will go to bed, how soon I can confront my mother. This time I will not let her turn me away with promises of later. Eventually, after we've cleaned up by candlelight, as there's been another power cut, I hear Lem gently snoring on the bed she shares with my mother. Now the time has come to speak. I can't think of how to frame my questions. As my thoughts sprawl, I look over at my mother, sewing a colourful strip of fabric to the edge of a white dress, finishing her day's work. She looks up at me and smiles. "When will they tell you your results?" she asks. "Next week. Mum, Binny's quit school." She looks down at her sewing, concentrating, even though I know she could sew with her eyes shut. "He's top of the class." She's silent. I feel the anger grow once more. This time it's sudden like a flame on paper. Why would Saba take him out of school? I mean, is school dangerous now too? The words remind me of something said to me during lunch break yesterday. Someone at school, one of the other kids, said Binny's dad was dangerous. I think he was talking about Dad too. Why would he say that? Is there something else I have to be careful about? What is it this time? If Dad hadn't died, then perhaps I could ask him. Perhaps he would have talked to me instead of ignoring me. I'm almost shouting now. Mum leaps out of her chair and puts her hand over my mouth. Her hand smells of new fabric. "Don't wake Lem," she says softly. But I know it's not Lem she's worried about disturbing. It's our neighbours. Anyone on the street who isn't Binny or his mother. The only people we can trust. My mother sits back down. I can tell she's organising her thoughts. Her response will be calm and orderly. The exact opposite of my questions. She will start by telling me that it's part of living in a big city, that she grew up in a village, but in big cities you can't trust people in the same way. But she doesn't say that. You have to read on to find out what she does say. Schiff is brave, he is smart, but is this enough to save him? If Schiff is going to make it through, he will need something else. He will need hope. Because sometimes hope itself is as important as the thing you are actually hoping for. I'm really excited that Boy 87 is one of the books chosen to celebrate Refugee Week 2023. A celebration to spread hope, one of the most powerful emotions of all. I feel honoured too that you will be sharing Schiff's journey. Happy reading.